Analog clock and analog time. The analog time or clock is the oldest form of time. It is numbered from 1 to 12 in a circle. It could be square or other shape in some other clock. That's just a design. The clock is still round and the clock still goes round in circle. The analog clock is made of two hands and two main numbers. They are the short hand and the long hand, and the hour number and the minute number. The short hand, which is the hour hand, is represented here in black, while the long hand, which is the minute hand, is represented here in red. This means that whatever black number the short hand is pointing at, it's the hour at that time. And whatever red number the long hand is pointing at is the minute at that time. There is a third hand, which is the seconds hand, but we will not talk about it in this video because people don't usually say the time in seconds unless such accuracy is required, like in sport races, like car races, 100 meters races, sport races generally, where seconds make the difference between the winner and the others. So seconds is not so really generally considered as time. The main time is hour and minutes, not seconds. So in this video, there will be no seconds. Try and watch our other video about times in seconds to understand the seconds better. Okay, most of the clocks we see around are not usually kids friendly, as they mostly focus on hours and not the minutes. They believe everyone knows the clock already, and that's not true, as many kids are still learning it and it's complicated for them to understand. However, for learning purposes, we have simplified the clock here more than we will see anyway. We have the short black hand and the black numbers, which represents the hour. Whatever black number the short hand is pointing at is the hour. As seen in this video, the short hand is pointing at 12. That is 12 o'clock, because the long hand is also pointing at 12 at the same time. If the short hand is pointing at 1, while the long hand is pointing at 12, that is 1 o'clock. If the short hand is pointing at 3, while the long hand is at 12, then it's 3 o'clock. If the short hand is pointing at 7, while the long hand is pointing at 12, then it's 7 o'clock. If the short hand is pointing at 10, while the long hand is pointing at 12, then it's 10 o'clock. Whatever number the short hand is pointing at, so far the long hand is at 12, then it's that number o'clock. Hope you understand it. Good. Now the problem is that long hand is not always at 12. The long hand is usually pointing at other numbers. To make it easy for you, the long hand, which is the minute hand, is painted red, and the minutes are also numbered red. So whatever red number the long hand is pointing at is the minute, and whatever black number the short hand is pointing at is the hour. For example, both short and long hand is pointing at 12 here, so it's 12 o'clock. Note, always consider the hour first before the minute. The hour should come first, then the minute second. Here, the short hand is pointing at 1 and the long hand is pointing at 17. Therefore, the time is 1:17. Here again, the short hand is pointing at 4 and the long hand is pointing at 30. Therefore, the time is what? 4:30. Good. Again, here, the short hand is pointing at 7 and the long hand is pointing at 44. Therefore, the time is 7:44. The short hand here is pointing at 9 and the long hand is pointing at 51. Therefore, the time is what? 10:51. Isn't that easy? Very simple. Using this method, it's easy to learn and know the time. Now, I'm going to give you some clock. You tell me the time. Now, tell me the time here. You have 10 seconds. The time is 6:11 because the short hand is pointing at 6 and the long hand is pointing at 11. Therefore, the time is 6:11. Now, tell me the time here. Now you have 5 seconds. The time is 8:15 because the short hand is pointing at 8 while the long hand is pointing at 15. The time is 8:15. Consider the black, then the red. Now tell me the time here. You have 5 seconds. The time is 4:37 because the short hand is pointing at 4 while the long hand is pointing at 37. Hope you get them right. Now go around your house or anywhere, look around for clock and tell the time. Look at the clock often, look at the time often and practice and tell the time. This will help you get better. See you some other time.